What is good, people? Welcome back to 8 Count. This video was meant to be going up yesterday, but the day just got completely away from me, ran out of time. So we're doing it today. I've got a video coming out tomorrow. I'm going to be talking about the Tyson Fury, Dillian White fight. I'm probably not going to do a UFC preview this week. There is a UFC card, but it's not all that, stacked. I think my favorite fight on the card is the one between Venata and Jourdain. I think that's going to be a sick fight. But in this video today, guys, I'm going to be talking to you about last weekend's fights, which went down in Bellator and the UFC. Before we get into it, guys, just make sure you subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any of the upcoming content. Leave a like if you do enjoy the video. Comment down below telling me who you thought won the fights on the weekend. I'm mainly talking about the Pitbull McKee fight. And yeah, just do that, guys, and let's just get straight into it. Okay, I'm going to start with the Bellator card. And I'm going to start with Nemkov against Corey Anderson. I think this fight, as long as it lasted, was okay. I was a bit surprised, to be honest. I thought Nemkov would have had a better showing up until the point. So if you didn't catch this one, guys. Basically what happened was, I think Nemkov, in my opinion, took the first round. I thought he had the more meaningful and effective strikes on the feet. But after that, round two, Corey Anderson was able to get the takedown and look fairly comfortable there. It didn't look like Nemkov was really going to have a chance to get up. And the same happened in round three up until the very end. And I think it was 4 seconds left. The referee called time for this massive gash on Nemkov's eyebrow. It was caused by a clash of heads, and the fight was stopped there. So it was really a disappointing one. I think going into the fight, it was evident of how much Corey Anderson has improved as a fighter since leaving UFC. I think after the fight, it's only magnified to a bigger audience, I'd probably say, because of how many spectators were on this Bellator card in particular. And Nemkov, I was really surprised. I thought he would have had a better showing. I think it's unfair to probably say, that he was definitely out of this fight. Obviously, I had it 2-1 going into the 4th round. And in my opinion, I think, the fight was heading in a way that Corey Anderson was probably going to win. But I think Nemkov could have shown something different in the 4th round. We'll never know. It was super disappointing to not get a conclusion to this light heavyweight Grand Prix. I thought going into the fight, like, Nemkov was going to win. He obviously retained his bout because of the... it was a no contest, I think, in the end. I think if it would have went 4 more seconds, would have went to a technical decision. And I think Corey Anderson would have been awarded the championship and the $1 million prize for winning the Grand Prix. So yeah, like I said, really disappointed with the fact that this fight went the way it did. I do feel sorry for Corey Anderson in a way because of how much he was showing. And, like I said, if the fight would have kept going that way, I think he probably would have been able to get a takedown at least in round 4 or 5. And with the way he was being able to control him on the mat, I find it hard to think Nemkov could have secured both rounds to retain his title. But either way, we're going to have to rebook this fight now. It's going to have to happen again so we can get the conclusion which the fans deserve and these two fighters deserve. Hopefully in the next fight, nothing happens like this. I saw a couple of people throwing shade at Corey Anderson for the cut. In my opinion, it's completely accidental. You could see how he was transferring his weight to, rain down more on Nemkov, and it's just accidental clash of heads, and it didn't look like that big of a clash of heads, and then all of a sudden that gash is absolutely huge. But yeah, hopefully we see this fight soon, as soon as that eye is healed and they can get a training camp under their belts. And I'm definitely really interested to see the rematch now. I think going into it, Nemkov's going to have to do some work definitely on the takedown defense, and not even just the takedown defense. I think he needs to work on more like scrambling to get back to his feet. I felt like Corey Anderson was just so dominant with the top position. His pressure game was brilliant, and it's going to be interesting to see what happens next time out. After this, it was the McKee against Pitbull fight. Oh, man, this was a really good fight. I really enjoyed this one. I saw a lot of fans online saying, you know, it's boring, this and that. For me, I like these sort of fights when they're happening. I think, in my opinion, like when these fights are as tense as they are, when it's going on, I find it really entertaining. Obviously, on the watch back, some fights like this aren't as entertaining, but I don't think this fight was as you know, boring as people were making it out to be. For me, it was very tactical. So at the end of the fight, I think the judges scored it. Two judges scored it 3 rounds to 2 for Pitbull, and one scored it 4 rounds to 1 for Pitbull. When I was watching this fight live, I think I scored it 3-2 Pitbull, but I was very certain it was a close fight. I just felt like on the feet, a lot of the meaningful offense was done by Pitbull. I think McKee did a couple flashy stuff and explosive stuff, but I don't think it was the most effective, and that he wasn't necessarily landing the cleanest out of the two. I think in round 3 it was, Pitbull seemed to have staggered McKee, and McKee was able to get a takedown, but well, it wasn't a takedown. He was able to get Pitbull up against the cage, but then we saw Pitbull go for that guillotine. Obviously, Pitbull's so good at that guillotine, and it was kind of ironic because of the fact that McKee finished him in the first fight with the guillotine, and it looked deep to me. I thought McKee, sorry, was in a lot of trouble, but he managed to wear it out and did a good job to, you know, regain, well, to keep himself safe and, you know, end the round on top. In my opinion, though, I think that round still has to go for Pitbull. I think when you were looking at it, McKee didn't do anything meaningful enough in that round to, you know, overturn the dominant position and the amount of, you know, threat he put on McKee. And you never know as well. Obviously, they score off damage. I think, you don't know, he might have done something to his neck. So, you know, for me, I thought it was a clear Pitbull round. I think rounds 4 and 5 were most probably McKee rounds. I felt that he did a great job coming on later in the fight. I felt like the biggest difference in this fight was Pitbull's ability to maintain the center of the ring and not be pushed backwards. I felt like it kind of forced McKee to play his hand at certain times, and I felt that he did a good job at countering Pitbull. I think the leg kicks were really decent as well from him. I think this third fight, because it's definitely going to happen, it's just a matter of time for me. Like, you know, is it going to be the next fight? I think they probably will. There's talks of McKee's contract running out. Maybe it's out already, but I think, you know, Bellator is his home for the meanwhile anyway. I don't see him leaving Bellator too soon. I could imagine him staying there for, you know, probably around 3 to 4 years more. Obviously, he's still quite young, so but I do probably see him making a move to the UFC one day. But yeah, this third fight, what I'm talking about now, it's going to be a fucking crazy fight, because I think you've seen both men have a lot of success over both fights. I think if you used to score it over both fights, you're probably looking at, what was it, second round guillotine choke for McKee in the first fight, I think it was. So, you know, 4 rounds to McKee and 3 rounds to Pitbull. You know, you've seen that they can both have success in different areas of the fight. I think it's a really intriguing one, and despite Pitbull winning this fight, I think McKee's probably going to be, you know, a decent favourite going into the third fight. I think McKee, I think there's a lot of stick really thrown at both of these guys, that, oh, Volkanovski could beat either of these ones no matter what. And that's probably fair enough. He probably could. I think Volkanovski is definitely one of the best pound-for-pound fighters in the world right now. So, but at the end of the day, I think you got to look at what Pitbull has done in the sport. He's definitely one of the greats. Bellator's all-time best fighter, probably. I don't even think that's in much doubt at all. But, you know, in the sport of MMA, he is a legend. And McKee, I think he's only 27, and this kid is so talented. I think he's so good everywhere. On the feet, I do think, you know, he's not as polished as he is, in my opinion, on the ground as he is on the feet. I think on the feet he could do with some improvement. I felt like the kicking game was strong from him. I think it kind of went away a bit. But yeah, it was a great fight, and I can't wait to see the third one. I hope it happens soon. You know, maybe before the end of the year. I think that would be a good shout. Maybe the end of the year card, depending on what these guys' plans are. But yeah, it was a brilliant fight. Really enjoyed it. And so, but yeah, the next fight I want to talk about is the UFC fight between Belal Muhammad, who I think was number 5 or 6 coming in, and LUQUE, who was number 5 or 4 coming in. And I did a preview video on this, and I predicted that LUQUE would get a 3rd round TKO finish, I think. And I think, I can't remember what round it was. I think LUQUE might have actually wobbled him in round 3, which was close. But now this fight turned out completely different to what I thought it was. I thought you was going to see Belal a lot more trying to push LUQUE back. But I did say in the video I didn't think LUQUE would be having any of it. I thought LUQUE would be able to, you know, keep his back to the center of the octagon, you know, continually forcing Belal back. But I didn't think Belal would take a page out of the Chiesa game plan. He kind of looked at what Chiesa did, saw certain successes with it. I think the way that Chiesa was able to use, you know, lateral side-to-side movement and draw in LUQUE. I do think that Chiesa did have certain like sort of very success with it. Obviously he did end up losing the fight, but I think Belal used it perfectly. I think despite the leg kicks of LUQUE, that was probably the most damaging thing in this fight on Belal's part. Obviously he did get caught with a really clean left hook, I think it was in round 3. But he was brilliant, man. I loved the way he was using lateral movement to draw him in, like I said. But it was stuff like the way he was able to get the takedowns. You know, I think he was shooting takedowns from both stances, which is kind of rare, I think, in MMA. I think most guys tend to stick to their one stance when they're wrestling anyway. But yeah, he was able to get takedowns off both stances. He was able to really, like in this picture, I'm pretty sure the picture I'm showing right now is one where he threw the left hand, but after this he went and probably went in on a single on LUQUE. But yeah, he was brilliant, man. I was honestly really surprised. I know that Belal was a good fighter, and before the fight I knew he was a good fighter, but I certainly overlooked him coming into this one. For me, I just felt like the more skilled fighter was LUQUE. I probably still agree with that. I think a trilogy fight would be good for these guys as well. I just think they're a good matchup. This fight did get some stick as well for being boring. Yeah, it probably wasn't the most fan-friendly sort of fight, but I certainly enjoyed it. Just from like the sort of tactical point of view, I think, you know, LUQUE's going to have to work on that part of this game, because obviously he wasn't able to get his offense off as well as he would like. I think, you know, you saw a lot of head hunting, I felt, from LUQUE, other than the low kicks, you know, and missing a lot, it felt like. But Belal, great job. It's going to be really interesting to see what sort of fight he can get next. I think he called for Kobe Covington. I don't think he'll get that fight, pardon me. But I'm certainly like interested to see who he could fight, either. I think this fight actually sets up the Burns fight perfectly. Burns obviously coming off the loss to Khamzat Chimaev, and I thought that if Belal did win and Burns lost, it would be a perfect matchup because of the fact that, you know, LUQUE, if he would have won, he wouldn't have fought Burns because of how close they are. But now that Muhammad's in a position where he can do that, you know, I think it's actually a really entertaining fight. I think, you know, it's a hard one to kind of call right now. I probably lean towards Burns because of the power. But yeah, the way Belal fought, obviously in this fight as well, I think he's going to have to take away, he's going to have to look at himself as well and look to improve, because I felt like with the ground control he did have, I didn't think he was very effective with it at all. I do think that, you know, LUQUE did a great job at looking to, he did close the guard to start with, but then he was always looking to get back to his feet, scramble, stuff like that. Obviously, he did actually catch Belal in the Darce choke for a second, I think it was, but he just couldn't get it right. Belal did a good job of not panicking as well. And yeah, I really enjoyed the fight, guys, and just let me know what you thought about this fight in particular in the comments down below. You know, did Belal surprise you? But most importantly, down in the comments section down below, if you made it all the way through this video. Let me know how you scored Pitbull McKee, and who do you think will win the third fight between those two. And yeah, that's the end of the video today, guys. As I said, leave a comment down below if you did like the video, leave a like, and subscribe to the channel. I've got plenty of content coming out tomorrow. Like I said, I'm going to be talking about Tyson Fury and Dillian Whyte. And until I see you then, take care of yourselves, guys. Peace out. Bye.